Hello and welcome to Trending at 10. I'm Sanket Upadhyay. Late this evening, an announcement came from the Finance Minister to address a big concern being faced by the real estate sector. A special window to fund the many stalled real estate projects, which will start with 10,000 crore rupees and go up to 25,000 crores. It is aimed to deliver 4.5 lakh undelivered flats. This provision will also be applicable on NPAs and NCLTs. Could this help deliver the stalled flats and, more importantly, change the fortunes of the real estate sector, thus helping crucially to revive the economy? Also on the show, my colleague Neeta Sharma gathers exclusive information on the cop versus lawyer fight. These details have not been reported as yet. Will the guilty be brought to book? A special edition of this show begins now.
Institutions like the SBI, LIC and so on, who together will also put in money, which I think will touch 25,000 crores. What we've come up now is a special window which is to be structured as an alternative investment fund, as an AIF, which will pool all these investments. Government gives 10,000 crores. We've already spoken with, say, institutions like the SBI, LIC and so on, who together will also put in money, which I think will touch 25,000 crores. SBI and LIC, we've spoken, and others also will join in. But this will be kept open. There are a lot of sovereign funds also who have expressed interest to come into it. Gradually, we'll keep adding to the AIF corpus.
This move does come as a big boost for the stalled housing projects in our realty sector. Remember, the finance minister said that a special debt financing window will be created. This realty fund will be worth 25,000 crores, of which the government will pump in 10,000 crores. The timelines as to how and when this will happen is, of course, awaited. But for now, of course, a breather for the realty sector that has been suffering from a cash crunch. Now, remember that the finance minister has also said that they will look at how they can ease the home buyers and the pressure that the builders are facing, and hints towards were coming in. 2 days ago also there were hints and reports that a move like this will be announced. However, today the big plunge and the big boost for the realty sector. Now, experts believe that this move will benefit the ailing core sectors such as cement, steel and iron. Remember, they also feel that this will generate employment in the realty sector and provide the much needed boost to the economy as well.
So I think what's most important over here is to understand what has happened, what has the government done, and how is this going to benefit the end user, that is you, in the real estate sector, whose flats are stuck in undelivered projects. Sameer Chaudhary is a corporate lawyer as well as an authority on this subject, is with me. I also have Bhupinder Mali. He's ex-president of the Buyers Association with me. Thank you very much, Bhupinder, for joining us. And we have the spokesperson and the leader of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Mr. Bhaskar Ghosh, with me in the studio. Mr. Ghosh, let me begin with you. You have sound understanding of economics. This is a step that has been taken, and might I add, a bold step which has been taken, where the government wants to pump in 10,000 crore rupees. Why, I ask first, and how? These are the two critical questions.
First of all, this is, I think, commendable and historic decision by the Prime Minister Modi and his government for the ailing industries, and which is one of the major industries are automobile and housing sectors, is one of the major industries. As you remember, in the last budget, in this particular fund, which has been created as AIF, we have allocated about 10,000 crores, and the rest of the balance 10,000 crore was supposed to be allocated from the private sector. Now, seeing the overall position of the economy and the growth in the last couple of months, this is the government's, like a dynamic government should function. They have increased it up to 25,000 crore with a two components, 10,000 crore Government of India, LIC and SBI is about balance 15,000 crore. So, make 25,000 crore, and it will benefit altogether about 4.58 lakhs of the building or the flats which has been unfinished. Number one. Number two, for any flats of 2 crores in Mumbai, that means any class which is going to affect the middle class is been targeted. 2 crores in Mumbai, 1.5 crores in Delhi and 1.5 crores in NCR, 1 crore for other cities. That means the government priorities is basically Modi Sarkar is Garibo ka Sarkar, or it is a government for all, for middle class as well as lower middle class. Same time, the employment, which is a very big question from this country, has hugely benefited because of the sector which is supporting the construction will also pop up, which is also will increase the turnover, steel, cements and other allies. So, one side the employment will be improved, second side all these home buyers which have been stuck because of NPA regulations, lot of projects is under NPA as far as the NCLT is concerned. So, they can finish up their projects. So, we can hope that in next couple of months, by end of the year or early next financial year, we could see the bottlenecks in the construction industries or the real estate industry should remove.
Okay.
And apart from that, the another adjoining or another joined to this AIF fund will be pension funds and others, which will also enhance the entire mobilities and entire volume of the funds, which will altogether, this will one side control the wholesale price index, this will control the inflation, this will increase the GDP and overall growth of this country.
Well, you have pegged a lot of hope with this particular decision.
Absolutely.
The big rider is if
and,
all of this happens.
The most important, one point, the most important, the fund will be managed by SBI.
Okay. Sameer, I want to ask you, do we need to worry or can there be any potential problems when the government rolls out a very aspirational, a very, what should I say, ambitious project like this?
See, undoubtedly, Sanket, this is an aspirational scheme because a drowning man will catch even at a straw. The present situation of the real estate sector is that it is in shambles, to say the least, not only because the funding has dried, but also because of the decline in the economy and the real estate prices primarily. As a result, what is happening is that as far as I'm aware, the data that I'm aware of, more than 1,600 projects are either stalled or delayed, because of which a lot of companies are facing multifarious litigation before the National Consumer Forum as well as the NCLT. Now, the Honorable Finance Minister has said that this will be available to the companies who have been declared NPA and NCLT. So, we'll have to wait for the rules to see how these companies can take benefit of this scheme. Because as far as I understand, once a company is in an NCLT and a petition is admitted, the liquidator or the IRP, the resolution professional, takes over. So, it is not clear whether those companies in which IRP has already been admitted will be able to take advantage of this scheme.
I have answered for this.
And secondly, this scheme is centered at affordable and middle income housing projects. So, we will have to see the real ambit of the actual benefit which will be imparted. So, for that we will have to wait for the rules to see how it is implemented.
But I think on that count, I think a bulk of these flats that have not been completed and a bulk of these projects that have not been completed are affordable housing projects.
It's a MIG and LIG basically, category MIG.
Unfortunately, it is not the bulk that we're looking at. If you look at the real estate sector as a whole, this might prove to be too little, too late.
Okay.
Because the scale of the problem is much wider than 25,000 crores. For instance, I'll give you an example. The amount of debt which is stuck with the real estate developers of the various real estate sectors or operators put together is more than 3.5 lakh crores.
Oh God, that's a huge number.
Yes.
And 25,000 crores is nothing when you
It's a
compare it with
drop
that
in the
figure.
ocean.
I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you, Bhaskarji. I'll give you an opportunity. Bhupender, let me take an opening comment from Bhupender. He has not spoken. Bhupender, are you hopeful with the announcements that have been made as an end user?
Okay. Like Sanket, although it's a welcome step by the India, they have been taken by the Supreme Court. Also, there have been a very recent judgment in Amrapali case. So, where assets of the builder are able to be disposed of, but the quantum of money which is required to complete such project too huge. So this has been a long-standing demand of the home buyers. They always wanted that government with some sort of money. But they, as one speaker just brought up, this 25,000 crores is a bit too less. They required a bit long, too much. You see, the problem of the home buyers is
Bhupinder,
they are paying.
Bhupinder, there seems to be some problem in your audio. I'm going to request the producers to fix this. There seems to be a huge problem with your audio. Bhaskar Ghosh, I'm going to come back to you. ASSOCHAM has now come forward, and Mr. Hiranandani, who's also the MD of the Hiranandani Group, he says the vexed problem of delayed and stalled real estate projects appears to have found a solution, with the Finance Minister announcing cabinet approval of the scheme to provide last mile funding for such projects. But how do you address this concern that Samir has spoken about?
This is already explained in the today's press conference. Even the CREDAI has appreciated this move. Initially, it was the criteria was different. Now the criteria is that you have to be positive net worth project. That means a project which is also coming under NPA or they are under the NCLT consideration, they can also qualify these projects. That is, positive net worth is the only criteria for availing the benefit of these funds. So that is an immense, we can say, oxygen that even the negative, this NPA companies was not supposed to avail it initially as far as the budget is concerned, but now that particular log gates have been removed.
Okay.
You have to positive net worth, you can take the advantage of this.
Okay. Samir, what, and I'm asking this purely as a layman, what if some notorious builders, and they're known to be notorious, use this and still fail to deliver?
That is what I pointed out right at the beginning, that we have to look at the fine print of the scheme as to what will be the considerations that will be taken into regard while granting an approval with respect to this fund being utilized. There will have to be strict conditions as far as the utilization of the funds is concerned. Like in the latest law on real estate, the RERA regulation and act, it provides that 70% of the booking amount collected has to be put in escrow account to ensure compliance with the building plans and the promises that are made at the time of taking the booking.
Correct.
So it is the fine print which has to be read firstly. The implementation has to be very clear. Along with this, some legislation would have to be required to be eventually brought in to help the real estate sector on a whole, because see, what we're talking about right now is more than 1600 projects, more than 500 companies which are before either the consumer courts or the NCLT. Till such time, and most of these cases, Sanket, are with respect to delayed possession. This funding will not overcome that delay which has already resulted.
Correct.
And the compensation which is being claimed.
Correct.
So some legislation has to be brought in which gives some kind of relief to the real estate sector so that they can move ahead, utilize the fund in its right intent and purpose.
But here I
and
want
complete
to
the project.
I want to mention one point. This will certainly help to generate the demands which was all time low now, because your fund is locked, and once project is stalled, the fund is locked, naturally demand is not generated. If once the project is on, then your fund will be unlocked and therefore the demand will be generated.
You are assuming that there will
No,
be
this
a
is the
demand.
perpetual effect of economics, that once you are project is stalled, the cost of fund going to be very high.
No, that's not
Bhaskar ji,
true.
this is
The cost
even,
of fund
even the flats that are fully
from
delivered,
both the sides.
all the flats that are
the
ready to move
proposed
in,
fund-
even there, people are
the-
not being able to sell their inventory.
The
It's a
proposed
practical
fund is
problem.
for the completion of the project. It is not in the hands of the end consumer. It is not a housing loan. So the demand cannot be
No,
generated by completion of existing
but
projects.
the EMIs are stalled because
Sir,
the
these
more
are projects which are already sold but delayed and stalled. So only those can be completed. There can be no additional demand by the utilization of these funds.
No, but question is that if the project is half done or done at certain percentage, right? If with the help of this fund, if they complete the project, now whatever fund was locked from both the buyer and the seller side will be unlocked.
Okay.
So that will generate a further demand, and it could be having a very multiplying effect.
I'm gonna
In the
come back
economics,
to-
it will be a multiplying effect.
Okay.
And that and the Keynesian theory that once you have a disposable income, then you can have that multiplying effect of that and you can create a far more. So it will give an impetus, as they are telling that 25,000 not enough. I agree, but this will create an engine or an impetus engine to I think increase the momentum of that particular real estate sector, and it will take out of their rates
Samir, do
very
you
soon.
think that the government is pegging a lot of hope on a step that they've taken. It appears to be a big step, but will it actually prove to be
the present
big and
situation is
game-changing?
such that any effort, any step is a big step. That is the situation of the real estate market. So the intent cannot be doubted for. The implementation will decide whether it was in the right direction or not.
Okay.
So in one side,
yeah,
what is
one moment. My guest on Skype, Bhupinder Mali, is now back. Bhupinder, you were saying.
Yeah.
Bhupinder, can you hear me? You can complete what you were saying.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, please go ahead.
I'm on Skype. I think. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead, Bhupinder. We can hear you.
Okay.
What were you saying?
Okay. First of all, as from the home buyer side, I think it's a welcome step by the government. This was a long outstanding demand of the home buyers that government should pump in some money because the amount of money required for completion of the projects is too large. But 25,000, as one of the speakers brought out earlier, is not to the required mark, but nevertheless, the beginning has been made. Another one point, I think the government now has to decide how much money has to be allocated to which projects. There are various projects which are in various stages of completion. There are certain home buyers who have taken
This
the
answer is
loan
already
and
there.
they're paying the EMIs also. There are people who are stuck for last 7 to 8 years. So government has to prioritize which money has to be utilized.
Okay.
This is answer is that any project which is registered in the RERA and it is a positive net worth projects, and government fairly identified about 1600 solved projects, right? They are RERA registered and positive net worth will be getting the beneficiary of that.
Okay. Okay. Samir, Bhaskar, as well as Bhupinder, thank you very much. Let us just hope that what the government has set out to achieve, they're able to, because this is a huge problem. Real estate sector is in a mess, and the end user, the consumer, is extremely troubled. So if this can help, it most certainly is a welcome step. So it will be interesting to see whether that happens or not, and what is actually going to be the time frame. Thank you so much for joining us on this discussion.